Hey everyone, Ronnie here, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit different of a tutorial. This is on how to vault over a car. So I've done tutorials on basic vaults like the Kong vault, speed vault, dash vault, all those good ones, but the technique for actually doing it over something big and large like a car is going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to teach you guys how you can run and jump and vault over cars. So even though I'll be doing a variety of vaults, the same basic technique when doing any sort of jump or vault over something taller and bigger applies. So in general, when preparing to jump over a car, it does help to have hops, like having decent jump technique, but it isn't necessary. I learned how to vault over a car long before I actually could jump really high, and even now my hops aren't as high as people might think. It's all in center of gravity control and technique. So basically the things that would be required is your run up, your momentum, that's the first one. The second one is the jump. It is important to jump. And the third one is your actual transfer of that momentum, so the blocking of your arms in the vault. Now your momentum's super important because this is what's going to allow you to clear the distance of the car, and as you're pushing against the car, it'll give you a little bit of extra vertical height. And the reason that works is because as you're running up, typically if I'm vaulting over a normal size object, I can just kind of jump and pop my feet over. Whereas with this, because it's a little bit higher, it's a little bit harder to just pop up like that. And so I'm using my momentum to push against the side of the car, so it works kind of like a pendulum. So my arms are kind of pushing my body up as my momentum is going into the car. So instead of going straight into it, it's almost springing it up like pole vaulting or something similar like that, so that I can get this launch to send me up and still carry my momentum over. So the same technique applies if you were to do a dash vault. The only difference here is that you do want to be able to jump high enough to get your feet high enough so that you can clear this first part of the car. Because after that, even if your hips are pretty low, if you can get your hands to push down, then you can pop your hips up and clear the rest of the car with your momentum. For the reverse vault, that's approached just like the Kong vault. The only difference is as I'm launching, I'm going to drop one arm, twist one shoulder and my torso, and then just tuck my knees in behind me as I start the rotation. So going back to momentum, you want a lot of speed. Not so much speed that you can't control it and you just slam into the car, but the more speed you have, the better, as long as you can control that speed. So once you have all that speed, I actually jump a little ways back from the car, because if I'm too close, then it's going to be really hard to prevent my knees or feet from clipping the top as I'm going over. So I'm almost diving at it a little bit, and then once I'm getting that push, that launch, I'm popping my hips up or my feet or whichever vault I'm doing, and I'm just pulling it up as high as I can as I clear it, and just holding my feet up tight and high as I'm clearing over so that I don't clip on the way down. Now if you want to learn how to jump a car without touching it at all, that's a little bit harder than vaulting it, because it does take more jumping power and the technique is a little bit different, but all the same there is a technique to help you jump and clear a car. Once again, you want a lot of speed and momentum. I'm going to jump a little bit of ways from the car, and as I'm clearing it, I'm actually leaning so that I can get my center of gravity higher as I clear over. The important thing is to make sure that you don't lean too much where you can't recover from it, especially if you're not touching the car with your hands. With any vault, your hands you'll be able to use to pop your feet back down in place, whereas jumping, if you get in a weird position, you can't suddenly just pop your feet back down. So make sure you're not leaning too much and that you're ready to kind of pop your feet down. So those are the basic techniques you need to think about when approaching and clearing a car. Also remember that you can damage the car if you mess up. You can dent the hood or various things like that. So make sure when you're first learning this, it's on a car you don't really care about, which clearly you can see this is a car that I'm not really going to care about. So that's why I don't mind doing tricks and practicing different stunts on this car. When doing the vaults, remember to stick to the edges of the car, especially if you're trying to avoid denting the car, because most roofs are generally pretty flimsy and you'll easily dent it just by pushing your weight on it. Once you get that technique down, then you'll soon be jumping over cars. So thanks for watching this tutorial on how to vault and jump over a car. So let me know in the comments if you guys have ever tried vaulting over cars or doing tricks on cars, and if so, what your experience was like. Did you ever damage the car? I will tell you that I have knocked off mirrors on my cars in the past when I was learning wall spins and things like that on the car. So try to avoid doing that, but otherwise, be sure to subscribe for more tutorials, and thanks for watching.